video includes scenes from my eastbound cross-country trip in July 2020, including Kings Canyon Trail near Carson City, Nevada, US 50 across Nevada, as well as the Great Basin National Park in Nevada and the Capitol Reef National Park in Utah. One of my rest stops on the way to Carson City was Susanville, California, and here's a selfie with Elmer and I. Once I arrived in Carson City, it was time to get on the Kings Canyon off-highway vehicle trail. This gully was a little bit steeper entrance and exit angles than you can see on the video, and was the first of really only two obstacles that were present on this trail. You'll see that I got through it without any real trouble, though. This was the second of the two obstacles that I found on this trail. It was a rock slide that didn't look too bad, so I thought I'd give it a try. And I approached it slowly, and you'll see I get to a point here where I just can't go any further. Just about here. So it was time to get out and take a look at where the wheels were and see if I could get myself out of that predicament. I was getting near the end of the trail and stopped and took a few pictures of the scenes and scenic areas. You're almost taking a look at the main highway that's just below the ridge that we were on. And we then aired up to the street pressure as we usually do at the end of a trail. It was about this time, though, that I saw the sign at the beginning of the other end of the trail that talked about the rock slide across the road, and that highway vehicles weren't recommended. But it was too late by then. After the Kings Canyon Trail, I took a ride around Lake Tahoe, which was right next to Carson City. It was still a bit cloudy, and it was also very crowded. The following morning began my trip across the US 50 section known as the Loneliest Highway. It was a little over 5 hours of driving, but I did make a few stops along the way. It was not too far out of Carson City that the landscape became flatter and simpler. I did come across one of Nevada's neat little roundabouts where they have these metal sculptures right next to the road. After about an hour's drive, you arrive at Fallon, which was a spot where there was water available and became an important stopping point on the Pioneer Trail. Just beyond Fallon was Grimes Point petroglyph site. Also visible and audible in the distance was the Navy's air station where Top Gun instruction takes place. You could hear the jets taking off every few minutes the whole time that I was there. It's incredible that this area was actually a lake about 12,000 years ago and was under 900 feet of water in some places. After Grimes Point, there were sections on US 50 you could stand in the middle of the road and take a picture in both directions. My next stop was the famous shoe tree where people have thrown shoes that are tied together up into the tree, and you can see that in the background. And after that, there was just a lot more driving. The following day was my trip to Great Basin National Park on the way to Richfield, Utah. The entranceway had this really neat old car by the side of the road, and then I took the road up to the trailhead on Wheeler Peak. And that was a very scenic ride, eventually getting to about 10,000 feet at the trailhead section. And from there, you have to hike on up to the peak. My next stop would be Capitol Reef National Park in Utah. And you can see here that the scenery changes quite a bit from some of that flat sections of US 50 in Nevada. At the beginning of the Grand Wash Canyon Trail, you can see some old uranium mines up in the upper right hand of this picture. You can't go in them, they have them sealed off, but they're there. After the Grand Wash Canyon trip, I was headed a little further into the national park to Pleasant Creek Road, which was a dirt road that took you to a old homestead. And it was a nice drive, and we'll watch it from here.